in the past, and Manchester United needs to make sure they're not one of those sides that fall foul to the rules. But the good thing for them is they're not in Europe this season. And I say good thing because when you're in Europe, you have two sets of financial rules you have to respect. PSR from the Premier League and UEFA's FFP, Financial Fair Play. And they are very different rules, similar in one respect, but very different. But those teams in Europe have to make sure they abide by those FFP European rules. The fact that they don't have European football means they don't have to worry about it this season. However, they still have a PSR deadline of next year, so they have got time to make sure they make sales.
But they also don't want players in the squad that they don't want, do they? So who are the ones, Michael, that should be, or we think might be heading for the exit door?
Yeah, I think this is a club reset for Manchester United. It's unthinkable a club of United size not being in Europe. You just think this one season, it might do them a little bit of good. Let's talk about the players potentially on the way out. These are big names, more importantly, big wages. Let's start with Alejandro Garnacho, who Ruben Amorim's been quite vocal in the sense that he probably needs a fresh challenge. And who is the club they're expecting a formal offer from? And that club is Chelsea. And United want around £50 million. Now, United are aware of Chelsea's interest in the forward, and we know his future is likely to be away from Old Trafford. As we've reported, Chelsea are looking to sign Garnacho and Xavi Simons before the end of the window. So that's one key player potentially on his way out. Two more big names. One was a huge signing under Eric Ten Hag and Manchester United. It's just not worked out for him at all. But it did work out for him last season at Real Betis. They're pushing to still do this deal, but financially I think they're struggling at the moment. But United working with Betis to potentially do this deal. Anything United do, they want something with a permanent offer attached at the end of this. That includes Borussia Dortmund still trying to sign Jadon Sancho for a third time. But again, it comes down to these big players, big wages.
You meant Anthony there, didn't you?
Sorry, Anthony, yes, my apologies.
Anthony mentioned. What about Højlund? Is he going to go if Šeško comes in? What do we think?
I don't think there's a guarantee on that, is there? You know, look, this is still someone who's had a tough couple of years, but I still say he did pretty well, Rasmus Højlund, in his first season at Manchester United in the Champions League. I don't think there's a rush, but I do think there's a feeling if a club came in, maybe United would consider it.
Yeah, I think Manchester United have said to Rasmus Højlund, look, you know, we like you, we respect you. He wants to stay at the football club. He wants to fight for his place. However, as we've been discussing, financially, sometimes the accountants have more control over the football club than the manager or the head coach because they need to make sure they balance the books. And if someone goes to Manchester United, we know there's a lot of interest from 3 or 4 sides in Serie A, as well as Saudi Arabia and other teams in the Bundesliga. So there are clubs that are queuing up saying, we'll take Rasmus Højlund. And if the offer was suitable, Manchester United may say, OK, we have to accept this and we'd like you to move on. He was in the discussion to go to RB Leipzig when they were talking about Benjamin Šeško. So there has been dialogue there about a potential departure from Old Trafford. The player's stance is quite simple, but ultimately finances may dictate where he ends up this season. You could potentially see him going on loan with an option because he'll be told, look, you're not going to get much game time here at Manchester United. We haven't got European football, so therefore there's less games. You might be on the bench a bit. It might be advisable that you look elsewhere, and this could be the right opportunity for you.
You've got to say, though, Ruben Amorim's going to be absolutely delighted to get Cunha, which was done very early, and Mbeumo and Šeško all done in time for their opening Premier League match against Arsenal.
Absolutely, and on the Cunha thing as well, that was done at the beginning of the window in a different PSR accounting period. So whilst the money that's spent, 200 million or so, actually 62.5 of that, amortised over 5 years, is in the previous set of accounts. So they've been quite clever to make sure they split their signings between 2 accounting periods.